So guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm in a dark and dingy car park in the middle of December. It is absolutely freezing out here. I think it's going to rain in a minute, so we'll get on with the video. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you guys is to watch this video the whole way through, because the information I'm going to give you is going to be relevant to some of the comments that are going to be in the comment section. But we just yeah, so the RS3 is visually back to standard. So the car itself has been in my possession for a year and a half. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, you have no idea how much I've enjoyed owning this thing. But the time has come. As you guys may or may not know, I actually keep cars for a year and a half, and then I sort of move them on. I do think with content, especially on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that sort of stuff, content on cars, if you're not doing anything crazy to it or nothing's really changing very quickly, people do have a very small attention span, especially on the internet these days. And I found that out years ago, if I'm quite honest. That's why I've gone through quite a couple of cars in the last sort of 3 or 4 years on the channel. This car, of course, is no exception. I sort of said at the start that a year and a half would be the time frame that I would own this car, and we completed so much in that time. Even though COVID pretty much destroyed every single thing that I wanted to do to this car, we still achieved so much. So I'm going to visually go around the car with you guys just to show you what's already happened. I actually took the number plate off around a month and a half ago, mainly down to the DVLA taking a lot longer because of COVID and stuff. The number plate still isn't actually physically back in my possession. The V5 is still yet to come through, but the actual number plate is back to the original number plate as per DVLA and stuff. So I've done all the checks and stuff just to make sure it is back on that number plate. So original number plate is back on the car, CR11 RSR, and it's a little bit weird because this number plate didn't actually spend too long on this car before it actually went onto my original private plate. Another thing you guys may or may not have seen, I never actually bought this car with the number plate in that location. It was always a sticker on the side. I've reverted back to type and actually gone for the original placement on this car just to give it some more originality. It was, you know, something I wanted to sell the car in pretty much a standard look or state, so the actual owner of the car, if they were to buy it, could take that off and put a sticker on the side. So that's really down to personal discretion. If you wanted to put that to the side, you could. Now, a few people may have already noticed that there is actually a little bit of red strip from the wrap that's still on the front. I personally haven't had time to do this. In fact, I've just picked this up from being paint corrected and detailed and just properly looked over by a professional body shop, just to make sure I'm really happy with everything. Because of course, when I bought this car, it was in this original state. We wrapped it with the guys at the vehicle wrapping center, and they did an unbelievable job. Literally, the job they did was so good. I had to get the car professionally put into a body shop to make sure everything came off properly. That's how good these guys are at wrapping a car. The guys at the body shop could not believe how well they had actually wrapped this thing. And do you know what? I love the white, but that wrap was just the best thing I've probably ever done to a car. It is a shame to take it off. I understand that people are like, oh my god, you've only just got it wrapped, blah, blah, blah. But that's how it is. You know, you've got to get on with things. I don't really want COVID and everything else getting in the way of us building something else or even buying something else. Now, as you can see at the front, I've actually left the forged carbon fibre look to the front and the gills and stuff at the front. I thought that that sort of made a bit more purpose to the front, if that makes any sense. Again, this is a sticker. It could be taken off very easily, but I'm going to let the person that buys this car from Havant Car Company make that decision for themselves, because this car will be going back to Havant Car Company. The guys that I originally picked this car up from will be selling it on my behalf, and then we will be sourcing something through those guys to replace this car. Now, many people may be asking, power wise, what have you done? Have you put the standard turbo back on? Have you remapped it back to completely standard? No, it is the full fat 520 brake horsepower that was applied by AET Motorsport at the start of the year. That turbo, the VT500 RS turbocharger, is still on the car. The high pressure fuel pump
is still in the car. In fact, I haven't actually changed any of the performance dynamics of this car whatsoever to get it ready for sale. So when this car actually goes up, it will be probably one of only the few 8P RS3s I have ever seen running anywhere near 500 or over 500 brake horsepower. This again originally was the plan. Whatever power I actually went with on this car, whatever turbocharger, exhaust and everything would have been going with the car. I didn't want to take it too far to, you know, forge and completely go crazy on this car. We had a small amount of time with this car as well, so, you know, completely pulling an engine apart, we know from other cars it takes a long time. That's just how life is. But it will be sold with the full fat 520 brake horsepower from AT Motorsport. It has also got the Perron TVS gearbox remap, which every RS3 8P owner lusts for. It is a fantastic bit of software that completely transforms this car. But other visual things that have happened is that, as you can see, the rotiforms, my beautiful rotiforms, have come off the car now and it's gone back onto the Audi 19-inch rotor wheels. Again, I think they really make an RS3. Obviously the RS3 came with these from the factory, but I think it really makes the car. It is a shame to take the rotiforms off, but I still think, in my belief, that this car should go as a relatively standard looking high powered hot hatch. Coming around the car, everything has been detailed and painted. Obviously I've just picked this car up and I've driven it literally down the road in December and it's destroyed already. What I actually went with at the back is a couple of black badges. I do have the original badges that can go back on the car, but we have black badges at the back, the original plate as well, which is so weird to see on this car. And I've left the diffuser in the forged carbon as well. Again, up to the next owner if they want to take that off, put it back to the gloss black diffuser. We also have DK Tuning's exhaust tips still on the car with that Miltech back box that is switchable on the sport map, and the full exhaust system, 3-inch, going right from the turbocharger all the way to that back box. But yeah, really weird to see this car in, you know, a relatively standard state. The next thing I'm going to talk about is financially getting yourself in and out to one of these hyper hatches or hot hatches. Now, I originally financed this car. I made it very clear that I financed this car through the guys at Haven Car Company. They really helped me out to get this thing, and I went in with a relatively low deposit and a good monthly figure. Now, in that process of a year and a half, I've actually paid that off. That was the complete plan of doing this. Although I wanted to finance a car, I wanted to make sure at the end of the term, the car itself and the amount of money that I have in it is relevant to how much the car is worth. I know that sounds really silly to some people, but that's sort of how all of this works. If I can get into a car like this, enjoy it for a period of time and have an idea as to where financially I can be at the end of the term, it makes complete sense. So this is the part where some people will be very divided in the comment section. They'll be like, but it doesn't matter about depreciating cars and how much monthly payments you have, you enjoy the car. And I understand that, and I've done it in the past. The X6 was a very big financial loss for me. In the sort of year and a half that I had that car, I lost quite a lot of money and there was no residual value in the car when I sold it. So going forward, I had to actually physically get the deposit together to buy this car. So this doesn't work in every single format. I would like to do a proper video on how this sort of works and how you yourself could get yourself in the financial position where you are, in theory, paying a car off fully, but that's something we can talk about in another video. But as it stands right now, this car doesn't have any finance on it, and that is a very interesting decision that I've made for myself, for my monthly outgoings, and going forwards. The whole price of this car could, in theory, be the deposit for the next car. I don't think it will be. I think that would be a bit of a silly financial mistake on my part to actually take all of the money that I've paid off and I, have in this car forward into something else. But the reality is that is part of the plan of what I do for a living. I want to make sure that whatever outgoings we have, like this car, relatively big monthly payment, a small deposit at the start, is in theory paid off, and then going forward into the next car we're able to do the same sort of thing. Now, unfortunately, down to my wisdom, that's probably never going to happen again. Trying to get a car like this or anything like this to hold its value in your ownership is a very hard thing. That's sort of why I don't keep cars long enough as well. Some people may say that's a silly thing, go and buy something new, lose the money and all that sort of stuff. I'm just not built that way. I cannot and do not have the funds from what I do for a living to go and lose loads of money on cars. It's just one of those things I can't do. So any decision that I made, like getting this car on finance, I made sure the finance payments were right. Every monthly payment was physically paying the car off instead of paying off interest or depreciation. Unfortunately, I do see it quite a lot where people are buying brand new cars and you're paying off the interest and the depreciation on that car. Personally, I don't have the funds to do that. This channel doesn't pull in loads of numbers and stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to be a bit more realistic for the guys out there that are actually trying to get one of these cars or get a car like this, putting it on finance. At the end of the day, if there's no balloon payment and the car is worth some good money at the end of the term, everything you've put into it is going to come back to you. Obviously, the modifications, it doesn't really count. If you're going to modify a car and go crazy on it, you're going to lose that money at some point. But that's a little bit more insight into the financial side of owning a car like this. But of course, if you would like to hear a little bit more about that, please leave a like on this video, leave a comment below. Let me know if you want me to go into sort of the financials of owning a car like this and buying an appreciating asset or a depreciating asset, that sort of stuff, and what to look out for when you are actually financing a car. Again, this is probably one of the initial financial things, you know, big things I ever did, and I did it for the right reasons. I didn't do it because it was something I really needed and I knew I was going to lose money on it. I knew that they were going to hold their money. And coming out the other side, hopefully we are in a better position on this channel to afford something a little bit more exciting, maybe something newer, but we will see. But what I'm going to ask you guys now is to leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the financial game, what you think of financing, what I've done in this situation. Did I do the right thing? Should I just have gone and bought a brand new M5 or E63 or, you know, whatever, and lose loads of money on it? Personally, I don't have the funds to do something like that. I'll try and be real and transparent with you guys, just because at the end of the day, I'm in the same financial position as everybody else that watches this channel. And lastly, let me know what you think I should replace the RS3 with. I'm really not sure where to go with it. I'm not sure if I want to get another hot hatch this small. I think I need something a little bit bigger. And I'm in my 30s now. I would like to come out of hot hatches and maybe get something, you know, a little bit bigger, maybe powerful, maybe not. I'm not really too sure at the moment, but please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think you would like to see replace the RS3. And as ever, guys, thank you so much for watching. The car will be advertised with Havant Car Company, so if you would like to check it out, probably one of the best RS3s in the country. 59,000 miles, full service history, big turbo, everything has been put on this car, and it has been cared for properly, regardless of cost, in my ownership. There will be a link in the description to Havant Car Company's website. Again, thank you so much to those guys for actually putting up with me and my silly decisions. Those guys are absolute legends. So if you would like to go through, and if you're after something a little bit cheaper or faster or newer, they always have something cool in stock. And lastly, I'd like to say thank you so much to Vehicle Wrapping Centre for wrapping the car and helping me create the coolest version of an 8P RS3 I could ever imagine. AT Motorsport for building the turbocharger up, going through the headache of mapping this thing and getting it just right to make the epic amount of power and the drivability that this car has. Perron for their TVS remap that literally transformed the way this car drives. And again, Rotiform. Rotiform are the biggest and the baddest wheels in the solar system, in my opinion. I've been a Rotiform fan for years, so the fact that they came through, you know, 4 or 5 months ago now to actually put a set of wheels on this car was a huge deal for me. It was probably one of the biggest things I have done to date. And yeah, to have those guys supporting what I do and even know what I do was a huge win. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. This probably isn't the last you're going to see of this car, because again, there is a couple of things I need to do to it. Take the wrap off the front, blah blah, all that sort of stuff. But there is a few things we're going to do, and then it will be hitting Havant Car Company's website for someone out there to go and enjoy and just be on and just love life in. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.